Well, I just want to talk about like what's important because like in the fantasy playoffs at this time of year, um, it's really easy to get like carried away with your starting sets and like playing the matchups and stuff like that. But I would suggest just doing what got you there. And don't get too cute. If you played three running backs, two in your RB1, RB2 and then in your flex all year long, do that again in the playoffs. Don't all of a sudden put a wide receiver in your in your flex. Do it that way. First and foremost, like I think it's just like something that that evergreen thing you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so with that said, like how do we apply that to the matchups that we do have? I mean, what we do need to take into account at this time of year is the weather. I don't know if you saw they posted that like I think there's gonna be like 5 games played in negative degree weather.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
It's crazy. Um, so I mean, it's just gonna be. I think there's gonna be a lot of running the ball. There's gonna be a lot of quick games. It's also Christmas weekend. If it's not, outside of the teams that are playing for playoff spots, which there's a few, but then there's the ones who aren't. They're going to be looking to just run the ball and get out of
Mm-hmm.
there. I think.
I guess like as far as like evergreen stuff, like at what point does um players sitting because their teams like end of season guys like aren't getting full snap counts and like snap shares and whatnot. Like when does that start to become? Because like it's not this week probably, but like people on bad teams per se that are just like you know what I mean? Because like every year there's a couple guys in DFS that are like obvious phase because they're like yo they're only gonna play like the first half.
Right. I don't think that happens. That's not gonna happen this week.
Yeah.
Maybe next week and the 18th, and then week 18. I think week 18 is a whole new animal that coaching has to overcome. I think we could see a lot of really interesting things in week 18. So
And it's crazy because there's an extra week. It's like I feel like teams will just approach it like sitting there guys the very last week, but maybe there's some like old heads that are like 16 is the perfect number. You need to sit these last 2 games. I don't know.
well, that or they'll look to get rookies more snaps,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Guys who didn't get any snaps all year, maybe they'll get something in week 18 just to see if they're worth keeping on the roster or not.
That feels like some um
Like
like
Jalen
Urban Meyer
Tolbert,
would
for
do.
example,
Some like stupid
someone who's
shit.
been inactive most of the year, and then when he did play, he's only gotten a couple targets. It's like they might as well feature him in week 18 when they know their playoff spot and they don't want to get any of their guys hurt. Feature this guy that you drafted highly, see if he's worth keeping.
Who are you talking about?
Jalen Tolbert.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the dude you picked up in Dynasty.
Oh, Shahid.
Shahid. He like falls into the bucket too.
Well, I mean, he's the opposite, Like, so he's in this bucket where it's like, as an undrafted rookie, made a splash uh, on several occasions throughout the season. So you have to think that the team is going to retain him over the offseason and see what he can do in year two. See if he can take another step forward, maybe take on a bigger role. I think that's undrafted rookie who comes out of nowhere. There's a reason to grab him at the end of the year and see what happens with his role.
Yeah, I kind of fumbled that. I was like just like looking at someone to like pick up, and I was like, oh, like Richie James had 18 last week, and I was like, I'm a Daniel Dimes believer. But then like when I thought about it, I was like, yo, Shahid's a way better pickup because like he has some upside. He's a younger guy, unproven. He could go somewhere. Um, especially for $0. That was a good pickup. I felt like.
Yeah, I mean he's broken several plays over 60 yards already, so that's something that you like to see in your first year in the NFL. I mean, and it shows that you can play at that level.
Most definitely, most definitely. Um,
What's your, tell me what you're most excited to see this week in terms of matchups?
what am I
Is
most
there one in
excited to see?
particular or two?
Um, who is Sauce Gardner guarding?
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, because whoever he's guarding is the matchup I'm most excited for. And just because he's locked up
Well,
everybody.
he should be covering Zay Jones. It would be my guess.
It's a damn shame he couldn't cover Zay Jones last week, man.
God damn shame.
Dude, give, give your cause I know it would probably be kind of therapeutic to you to give your piece on that. Like, what's the Lil Zay Jones story from last week?
So I played the same person in week 14, the week before the playoffs, and they beat me so that I didn't get the bye. I ended up getting third place by 20 points. The top four or maybe five teams in my league were all 9-5. And the top three were myself and two other guys, and we were all separated by 60 points total. In a league where we normally score someone is scoring 170 or more
Oh my
in a
goodness.
week. It happens every week. So there's pretty high scoring. Um, so he beat me so I ended up facing him again in the first round of the playoffs.
So he has to beat you twice.
And he beats me again with Zay Jones, and he got the highest score on the week out of everyone in the league with 174 points. I scored 170, but the worst part is I didn't. What I mentioned on the top of the show was playing, sticking to your guns. I didn't do that. I played Christian Watson in the flex for the first time all year when I had been playing either Kenneth Walker or Ramondre Stevenson or a
No.
running back, whoever wasn't on bye. And I didn't play Ramondre and I didn't play Kenneth Walker because they both were coming off of ankle injuries, and it was like, and Kenneth Walker is playing San Francisco, the toughest matchup there is.
And to be
And
fair, Kenneth Walker didn't have that
and
great of a game.
literally, I thought Ramondre broke his ankle
Dude,
last
it looked
week.
bad.
It looked bad, and then he came out and put up 174 yards on the ground, and I was like, what the hell? I blew my mind. I couldn't
Nobody
believe
could have
it.
predicted that.
So then I have to rely. I'm relying on Christian Watson, and then the worst part of all was I still had AJ Dillon on my bench, and he's been playing well, and it was a cold game and at home, and I should have just played the running back who was on the overdog at home, and I still played the wide receiver.
That's
So
rough.
I lost by 4 points
That's
with the
rough
second
stuff.
highest score on the week, and I'm out of out of the playoffs. And that's what fantasy is, I had a great season. I prepare all year round, and I went into the draft with a good plan that I felt I executed. I felt really good about my team. I felt really good about my pickups all year. I relied on the three running back approach all year to have a base of points. And then if my quarterback pops, then how hard is that to beat? It's going to be really hard to beat if you have a really good base. And there are so many things that came to light in this week. There was another thing that made me think about how there's these fantasy analysts out there who will say I literally heard someone be asked why do you always draft running backs in the first round, and they say that's just how I build my teams. And it's like that doesn't tell anybody anything. What you should be saying if you're always going running back in the first round is that you want to have that base of point. You want to have that strong baseline to build around, instead of having a volatile player to build around like a wide receiver.
It's give some context, and
Right,
And
right.
that's why, like we were saying, it's the least sexy pick that you can possibly make. But and he's still kind of busted. But Najee
Mhm.
Harris at pick like 12 or 14, it's like that's not gonna be awful because like Najee Harris is gonna end up RB. I mean, at worst, and this is his like worst case scenario, like RB like 18,
Yep.
17, and
The
it's
guy who
like
beat
that's
me
not
had
great. But you're
Najee.
playing him every week, you know.
The guy who beat me took Najee first, and he had the worst draft ever. Oh my God! This is the dude who took Najee in the first round, Patrick Mahomes at right there at the turn of the beginning of the
Oh
second.
my
He
god.
took Juju right after that in the third.
And they all pop this week.
And but then you know what he did? He
What?
ended up with Josh Jacobs too, and it
Who?
carried him.
Who would have been a top five redraft pick?
And then he played Zay Jones at the end of the year. And it just like and that culmination there, it carried him over the top.
That will be the perfect draft, like 10 times out of 10. Because I mean, those guys that you just described are 150 points.
It's like it's what do they call it in DFS? It's like when a donkey puts in like some kind of lineup that some shit lineup that ends up hitting.
Yeah,
It was like that scenario.
it was like a I saw one of those tweets. It's always like the Sharks are getting like really, really, really mad that
Oh
like
yeah.
the middle one, and it's like and that's like a whole like different can of worms. But it was like a four chief lineup with no run back, and then playing Algier and Zay Jones with no run back, and I scored like 200 points, and it like took down the millie. It was like McKinnon, Juju, Kelsey, Mahomes, and those guys. It was crazy.
It's what it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. That's fantasy. That's the beauty in it too. Like everybody can win.
Mhm. Well, that being said, do you want to get into these games here?
I do. So I asked you what you're most excited to see in terms of matchups. You said Sauce Gardner. So let's talk about the Jags and Jets. Um,
Beautiful.
I mean, I'm